Akeem Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all.
If the law says 410 naira to $1, there is no reason for you or for your agency to pay anybody higher than that.
House Committee queries different figures presented for the nation's exchange rate.
Be it in the health, be it in anywhere, either capacity building, livelihood, there has to be that road infrastructure in Calabar local government.
Lawmakers call for urgent attention to infrastructural developments in their constituencies. Many thanks for being a part of House Ticket as always. In this episode, we review events in the week spanning 1st to 5th November 2021, bringing you reports from committee rooms where the budget defense exercise continues in the House. In our lineup, lawmakers threaten zero allocation to the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority over refusal to defend its budget expenditure and proposal before its oversighting committee. In other news, lawmakers seek information on developments following Executive Order 007, amongst other government interventions as regards infrastructural development in the works sector. These are more discussions in the course of the program. Let us begin the program when we return from this short break.
We set our minds right, embrace each other in love and brotherhood. We will come through these troubling times. We will survive, we will recover, and then we will thrive. One nation under God, free, peaceful, and prosperous.
The Representative James Faleke-led Committee on Finance met with the Accountant General of the Federation, where the committee was told state offices needed 30 million naira to fumigate environs against reptiles and antelopes. On the other hand, the various federal government intervention programs under the works sector dominated discussions when the Works Committee of the House engaged the Minister of Works and Housing, seeking to know how constituents have benefited so far. The details in this first segment of the program as compiled and presented from the studios.
On page 2,
when the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, spoke before the lawmakers, he presented a budget proposal of 450 billion, 29,257,000 naira for 2022. This caters for the ministry and its agencies. Capital allocation for the main ministry was 382.8 billion naira, the overheads 627 million naira, while personnel for the ministry is earmarked at 10.1 billion naira.
the number of projects are increasing, and all of us must find a way to come to a consensus, because our revenues are not increasing at the same exponential rate. We appropriate for a very token amount for a project of certain quantums, and then once the award is done, the question of financing becomes a challenge. Enough of new routes and new projects. Let us concentrate our limited resources to complete or progress some of what we have started.
Meanwhile, the sum of 399.694 billion naira was allocated for 2021 fiscal year, which has performed at 52.63% for capital projects, 32% releases on allocation earmarked for highways, roads and bridges works. The minister noted some major roads completed and ready for commissioning, which were the results of the 2021 budget provisions. They include dualization of Kano-Maiduguri Road, linking Kano, Jigawa, Bauchi, Yobe and Borno State Section 2. This is the Shuari-Azare axis around Bauchi State. Rehabilitation of Vandekia, Obudukatu Ranch Road, Vandekia Obudu section in Benue State. Completion of Nemwe Oduma Mpu Uburu Road linking Enugu and Ebonyi States. and the construction of Econ Bridge in Cross River State, amongst others. Further presentation by the minister showed the revenue generation for 2021 by the ministry from January to August at 837.3 million naira, which has been remitted in whole to the consolidated revenue account. The committee took on the minister on the various private-public partnership intervention schemes introduced by the federal government through an Executive Order 007. The interventions include the Tax Credit Scheme, Highway Development and Management Initiative (HDMI), Sukuk bonds, and the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund (PIDF).
Anything that involves tax, the ministry, I believe, need to explain to the people if you can break down this tax credit scheme and other forms of support, road support like the NISA funding, the Sukuk and all this is very important. This scheme was initiated in the previous administration. It was inherited policy, but it was not implemented. So it was during 2016-2017 when we were looking for ways to fund budgets that I came across it. And the first project we undertook with it was the Obajana Kaba Road. There have been subsequent requests which extend beyond the approval of the president. And this speaks to how the roads are picked. Usually, it is the taxable entity who applies to say, I want to do this road. Because tax credit is asking the taxable entity to spend his money in advance. But because it is not the usual process where we wait for them to declare profit and then we tax them, what tax credit simply means, by the name, tax credit, you're advancing tax as a credit to government. That's what it simply means.
We are moving on to the PIDF project's second major bridge, Lagos Ibadan Section 1 and Section 2, Kano, Zaria, Kaduna, Abuja projects. We know they are very critical, they are very important, and the president wants to commission that actually.
The issue of Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund is quite apt and germane to the issue of road management in this country. And of course, you have about 3 projects in that line. And we want to ask very specific. These three projects, when is the delivery time? When will Nigerians get the full benefit of this road? And the second question has to do with the issue of relocations and compensations along the route of this road.
2-3 weeks ago, we had a meeting, myself with Governor Rufai, representative of the governor of Kano, representative of the governor of Niger, and the representative of the Honorable Minister for FCT. We submitted all the coordinates and drawings and geopositions of the places where people have either created markets, created stores, illegal parking, erection, petrol stations on the right of way. It is the power of the state government as the government responsible for land management to recover those rights of ways for us. So somebody has asked me, what is the recommendation? My appeal to all of you who come from that axis is also to help us talk to you, because they are your constituents, to leave the road so that the contractor can improve work.
For them to have anything in Kalabalgi, any humanitarian assistance, for them to have any government activity, for them to be it in the agri, be it in the education, be it in the health, be it in anywhere, either capacity building, livelihood, there has to be that road infrastructure in Kalabalgi local government. And I just want to appeal to the Honorable Minister to know if there has been any arrangement, and if there is none, what is the Honorable Minister doing about it? Because Honorable Ministers are that particular local government, all of them are IDPs.
Come and meet with the permanent secretary and the director of construction they will be able to provide an assessment of what the problem is, what we can do, and I hope that Mr. Chairman will also note it, and then within what the appropriation challenges are, we can see.
Thank you, sir.
Let me also point out to you that within each year's budget, there are provisions for zonal intervention projects. So if this is something that Chairman can also look at, depending on the size of the envelope, I don't know. It is now left, you have the yam and you have the knife.
We may likely call on Mr. in the future, maybe quarterly, to have this kind of discussion so that we can go on the same page with the Ministry of Works and the National Assembly. So, Honorable Minister, you are now discharged. You can take a bow and leave. Yes, and then we'll get back to you on our 2022 budget.
For the representative, James Faleke chaired Committee on Finance, the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, said as at September ending 2021, a total of 2.986 billion naira was released and expended out of the appropriated 3.711 billion naira for personnel at the headquarters and zonal offices. This represents 80% releases out of the total sum approved and appropriated. Overhead costs had a total of 752.83 million naira, out of which 564.623 million naira was expended, representing 75%, and capital expenditure had a total approved budget of 483.29 million naira, of which 295.837 million naira was released, representing 61%. For revenue generation in the last 3 years, the Office of the Accountant General generated through withholding tax, VAT and stamp duty the sum of 286.698 million naira for 2019, 805.365 million naira for 2020 to August 2021, and January to August 2021 revenue generated is at 122.212 million naira. A total of 1.14 billion naira has been generated in the last 3 years, with remittances made to the government treasury accordingly. For the 2022 budget proposal, the Accountant General said the personnel costs had increased by more than 100% from the 2021 budget of 3.711 billion naira to a total of 9.088 billion naira. This is due to administrative changes. Of this amount, 4.341 billion naira is for the office and 4.74 billion naira for Nigeria's foreign missions.
The foreign service element is being introduced to our budget for the first time this year. It used to be with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but with some administrative changes, this has now been shifted to our office, and so it is appearing for the first time.
My concern is that, yes, you are paying the allowances in dollars. My concern is your exchange rate. You have put $425 to a naira, $425 to a naira. Mr. President's presentation is 410. Are you aware of that? That this, of course, does not fall in line with the presentation of Mr. President to this National Assembly. So, are you proposing an increase of exchange rate to 425?
Despite all this we say, we still encounter certain charges by CBN itself. There are charges by CBN. We can't run away from that. And it is obvious. Our records are there. We can verify this. Yes, the exchange rate is pegged at this, but CBN, one way or the other, you have to pay a bit higher. Yes, lower than the black market rate, and that's why we jack it up slightly. We know that, yes, this is what has been approved as the benchmark.
If the law says 410 naira to a dollar, there is no reason for you or for your agency to pay anybody higher than that on an official assignment. And the CBN cannot flout the law of the land. Appropriation is a law.
Honestly, let me be more clearer. Getting the funds right at official agreed exchange rate. But transmitting the funds and the associated cost of such transmittal, including some of the cost, so-called, CBN incurs, at the receiving bank, at the corresponding bank. These are the elements that really give account for some of these higher charges, differences. They can be explained. They are real.
Very difficult to defend. The cost of transfer will surely not be 15 naira to $1. Because what we are asking now is a difference of 15 naira to 410. That's 425 to 410. So cost of transfer, no bank will charge such amount. We will invite CBN to come and clarify. It's a very serious issue that if we are talking about controlling our inflation rate in this country and the cost of doing business or cost of governance, and CBN will be charging double rate different from the actual rate, that will be a serious.
Meanwhile, the sum of 629.6 million naira for capital budget is to cater for the construction of state offices, to stop the use of rentals, procurement of operational vehicles, office furniture, laptops, among other expenditures. More questions were raised by the committee members, seeking for some increment projected in the year 2022, just as they compared allocations of 2021 with the proposals for 2022.
Cleaning and fumigation services, about almost 30 million, sir. How many offices do we fumigate then? The clearing, do we have a bushy area? What really happened?
36 offices in all the states of the Federation, with 6 zonal offices, with our headquarters, with an institution which is bigger than most of these private universities we see, with a lot of bushes and forests, because we occupy an expanse of land of about 70 to 80 hectares, with buildings around, with snakes around, with reptiles. There was even a time they were killing antelopes within our premises. Yes, they said they thought it was a lion. Even at an average of 1 million per annum for fumigating these offices, I think that amount proposed is grossly low.
With that, the Accountant General was discharged. On the other hand, the committee has expressed disappointment at the refusal of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority to honor invitation by the committee to defend its budget.
Accountant General is here. We will write you. There will be no disbursement of funds from any of our federation account to that agency. That is the opinion of the committee. If they don't present their budget, there will be no appropriation for them this year, 2022. Very certain. There are no two ways about it. You cannot be spending our money and you tell us as a parliament, you disobey the constitution and then we keep quiet and look at you. That will not work. This is a warning to them, and if they are in agreement with any foreign government, they must know that foreign governments obey laws, and here they must obey laws.
Thanks for staying with us. We've been reporting the ongoing budget exercise and talking accountability for budget expenditure for the year 2021 and the projections for 2022 budget, where lawmakers have been engaging agencies of government on their reasons for expanding and proposing projects and actions along certain monetary involvements. We'll continue on this segment along that line with health matters, this time around as lawmakers worry over border patrol, fake drugs influx, amongst other issues. The report.
The Healthcare Services Standing Committee of the House continued with its session of budget defense engagements with agencies and parastatals under the Federal Ministry of Health. In that regard, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, had its turn before the committee. The committee had been on an oversight visit to NAFDAC earlier before this meeting, where the 2022 budget was presented to the lawmakers. On the 2022 budget items, lawmakers perused estimates for ICT, vehicles, laptops, and salaries and wages, viewing them as outrageous.
On page 8, you mentioned about 50 laptops at the cost of 31 million naira. Are we saying that we don't have, are you employing new people that will need these 50 laptops, or that the laptops you had before now are all gone bad? So, because these appear to be new things. As of last year, I know that there was some similar purchase of laptops. Do we keep on changing laptops every year? Just as well, questions were asked on vehicles.
No NAFDAC inspector had laptop when I got to NAFDAC. No NAFDAC director, rather, had laptop. And we are 2,200 staff. Each staff is supposed to have a laptop. Right now, we have bought about 300, 400, 200, yes, no, actually 300, yeah. We have another 200 coming in. So this is just the beginning of making sure that our staff are capacitated. NAFDAC was asking companies to send vehicles to them to come and inspect them before. Who doesn't know that we will need to do a favor for those who provided those vehicles? What I'm saying, there were no vehicles. And we use vehicles for good manufacturing practice, whether it is food or drug. We have been going through what is called WHO auditing, that we allow NAFDAC to get to, or that we track or monitor NAFDAC to a particular maturity level, after which Nigeria can manufacture our own vaccines. All these things that we are talking about, ICT, vehicles, these are indicators they said you have to meet.
We border 3 countries, Cameroon, Chad, and Niger. And quite frequently, I walk into chemists and I see drugs with funny names, and they have NAFDAC something on it. Are you still kept out by the cabal? That's one. 2, if you work with this committee and other appropriate bodies to get you back into the cabal, do you have enough staff to man these borders? Because honestly, we are having a lot of issues, those of us from the far north.
We don't have enough men and women to guard our borders. But what are we doing? We went right into the heart of the problem, which is China and India. Before, there were loopholes in terms of testing of products that come to our market, to our country. We have pegged that and decreased significantly the number of fake products coming into the country. Over 95% of products that we import are from China and India. I read them the Riot Act, and we have gotten so much success in terms of things coming in. But that is one way of coming in through the ports. But the borders are a different entry point.
Sometimes back, I had a reason to call for a collaboration between NAFDAC and NIPRID, and which we believe I also talked to you, so that if NAFDAC can assess the standard of laboratory of NIPRID and its capacity, and even if you cannot do that, I believe we are there for at least a 1 year on sabbatical in NIPRID. So you have known the performance of NIPRID. So why can't we have a collaborative effort between the 2 organizations, so that rather than leaving them there idle, NAFDAC can collaborate with them and apportion some conduct of test to them under your guidance. You are hereby discharged.
With that interaction, NAFDAC was discharged, while the committee took on other agencies, such as the Optometrists and Dispensing Opticians Board of Nigeria. The 2021 budget of 284 million naira appropriated for the board had seen 72% releases, while the 2022 proposal for the board is estimated at 76.8 million naira for capital project to construct its office building and web portal. The committee was concerned about increased revenue generation. Before discharging the board, it earned the support of the committee on its construction of a permanent office building. The Radiographers Registration Board of Nigeria also had its turn before the committee and presented its 2020 budget performance, where for capital expenditure, it got 49.5 million naira out of 150 million naira budgeted. 45.5 million naira was utilized, arriving at a 92% performance. For 2021, capital expenditure 55.6 million naira was appropriated, but 40.4 million naira was released, under which contracts have been awarded and the money fully utilized, as the agency expects a balance of 15.1 million naira.
Construction and provision of office building. 2021 amount released was 33 million, which require 490 million to complete the projects. You see, my question here is, why can't you think of special intervention? Because under the Public Procurement Act 2007, cost of variation is very, very important, and we are using taxpayers' money to pay for all these projects. 2022, I expect the money to be less, but because of variation, you still require 490 after giving you 60 million. So if you go to page 6, compared to page 4, you figure out that at the end of the day, there is no value for money for the process. But if you ask for special intervention on this particular project, this is at the headquarters office. So maybe an intervention can be done on that. If not, you keep repeating, it will take you lengthy years to complete the project. At the end of the day, we are not saving taxpayers' money.
As we round up this package here, let me mention that the lawmakers resumed plenary sitting on Tuesday, the 9th of November 2021. Tune in again to House Ticket on this station, and we will bring you details of the resumption week in subsequent episodes. And we expect feedback from you, including the benefits in your communities through the various constituency outreach programs facilitated by your representatives in the House. You can send in your feedbacks in form of comments, videos, and questions through the various channels showing on your screen. And remember, you can catch up on the program as well through our social media platforms on display. Till we hear from you, do stay safe.